Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for being here for our 2017 First Quarter Awards Ceremony as we take some time out of our busy schedules to celebrate all the great work that's going on in the Port St. Lucie Police Department in the city of Port St. Lucie. Again, thank everybody for being here. I want to especially thank our Vice Mayor, Shannon Martin, for being here today, taking time out of your schedule. Thank you, ma'am. I also want to make mention that next week is when we celebrate Police Officer Memorial Week, and there are 3 events coming up. The Police Department Memorial Service will be on Tuesday the 16th at 9 a.m. It is the 25th anniversary of the passing of Sergeant Donald Mahan, who made the ultimate sacrifice 25 years ago. So please join us for that ceremony. It's a very important day for not only his family, but for our PSL PD family. On Wednesday, Vice Mayor Martin and the Treasure Coast LEO wives have put together a full day of breakfast, lunch, and dinner in appreciation for all your hard work that you do throughout the year. The Treasure Coast LEO wives does a fantastic job supporting our agency and our officers, and so I thank you, ma'am, for that, for all you do. They've stepped up, got a lot of sponsorship from a lot of different businesses throughout our community, and we look forward to celebrating that day and being appreciated for all the work that gets done here at the Port St. Lucie Police Department. And on Thursday night at St. Bernadette's Church, we have the St. Lucie County Memorial Service, where all 3 agencies in St. Lucie County, the PSL PD, St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, and Fort Pierce Police Department will come together to remember all the officers that have lost their lives in the line of duty. So you can join us for that as well, and that's at 7 p.m. at St. Bernadette's Church. So without further ado, if you can join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we're going to get started first with our service citations. Lieutenant Scott.
For 10 years with the agency, we have quite a few here today. Detective Maya Auguste, Officer Tim Bort, Officer Bob DiAgostino, Officer Dean Herzog, Officer Alan Ludmerer, Officer Suzanne Moore-Fleites, Officer Francisco Rodriguez, Officer Jermaine Singleton, Officer John Squitieri, and Volunteer Coordinator Tom Andrew. Come on down, everybody. All right. "20 years, we have evidence technician June Harkins.
June.
Well, she must be working hard filing the evidence, so we're up to 25 years. Lieutenant Scott Beck. Master Sergeant Frank Sable. And Officer Jennifer DiMatteo Bennett.
Congratulations to everybody on your service citations. That's outstanding. Next up is going to be our certifications for our Career Ladder Program. Our Career Ladder Program really recognizes officers, sergeants, and lieutenants who not everybody wants to strive for promotion, but they want to maintain their rank, but also achieve things within their rank. And there's several different levels that they can achieve, and they have to do certain things such as education, career development training, passing a physical fitness test, years of service all go into that. So these certifications are very important. They focus on personal and professional development, and we got 4 individuals that are coming up now that have achieved that. So, Lieutenant?
Sergeant Brent Black, actually Acting Lieutenant Brent Black, from Sergeant to Senior Sergeant. Sergeant Jesse Anigo, from Sergeant to Senior Sergeant. Sergeant Mike Swancheck, from Sergeant to Senior Sergeant. And Detective Josh Safamilla, from Police Officer to Police Officer 1. Come on up. Good job, everybody.
A nice shirt, Josh. Good job. All right. All right. So.
Be nice. He's a Panthers fan.
I know. It looks good.
You should have seen him on the Jumbotron at the BB&T Stadium.
Next up is going to be our educational achievement, and this is something I looked at actually this morning. I just wanted to pique my interest a little bit. Several chiefs ago, back to Chief Skinner and Chief Ruther, they really put an importance on educational achievement and trying to make us a more professional police department. And this statistic I thought was pretty outstanding. Out of 293 employees, both civilian and sworn, 54% or 161 employees have higher education, either an associate's degree, bachelor's degree, or master's degree. Currently, we have 62 employees that have associate's degree, 67 employees with bachelor's degrees, and 32 employees with master's degrees. And this next individual that's going to be coming up in a minute, Lieutenant Beck, who achieved his master's degree, for the first time in the history of our agency, our entire command staff had a graduate degree or higher, which I thought was outstanding. So I called Chief Ruther and Chief Skinner when that happened, and congratulated them on their vision becoming a reality, because that's what they were striving for, and that's what's going to help us take us to the next level, is that education. It makes us a more professional agency, but it's getting us to where we want to go. So congratulations to you. They're going to be calling you guys up here in a minute. So.
Well, come on up. I see Scott ready to jump out of his seat.
He's ready to come out of his seat.
Lieutenant Scott Beck.
Yeah, it is.
He earned his master's degree in criminal justice, and Sergeant Matt Cuba earned his Associates of Arts degree.
Yeah, we can't all be like Chief Vega and have 2 master's degrees, but, you know.
Oh, you remember?
Yeah, you just whispered into my ear, so. He wanted me to make mention of that. He's like, make mention that I got 2 masters. All right, calm down. But no, seriously, that is absolutely outstanding. It's a testament, I think, to just your dedication to both personal and professional development, and your commitment to excellence. And I'm a big believer that there's no maintaining in life. You're either getting better or you're getting worse, and we always have to strive and focus on continuous improvements, not only as an agency, but personally as well. And we got some great employees here striving for that education, so let's keep it up and keep moving forward with that. So great job. Congratulations, LT.
And it is difficult getting it while you're a full-time employee, too. So kudos to you guys who just got yours.
Absolutely.
Next up, we have a unit citation for some vehicle burglary arrests on Southwest Cornelia Street. We have Sergeant Lisa Carasquillo, Sergeant Daniel Harrington, Detective Wade Wilnow, Officer Rob Meyer, Officer Paul Knowles, Officer Buto Moristant, Officer Michael Bianco, Officer Joe Casaniti, Officer Fatim Barrera, Officer Nelson Ojeda, Officer Corey Kresick, Officer Ryan Trudeau, Officer Adam Doty, Officer Colton Reisinger, and Officer Robbie Gibbons.
It's going to take a while.
On March 12th at about 5:18 in the morning, District 3 officers were dispatched to the area of Southwest Cornelia Street for a burglary in progress. A Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office deputy on his way home from work observed 3 juveniles in a vehicle committing the burglary. Sergeant Daniel Harrington and his squad, along with Sergeant Carasquillo and District 2 and District 4 officers, immediately responded to the scene and set up a perimeter. Officer Robbie Gibbons and his canine also responded to the area. 2 of the subjects were observed running across Port St. Lucie Boulevard by Officer Meyer, and they were subsequently taken into custody. Canine Officer Gibbons and his canine tracked the 3rd subject and located him a little bit later, and he resulted in a bite to the suspect's foot. Due to the quick response and coordination of the perimeter by Sergeant Harrington and his squad, along with the assistance from other officers, the 3 juvenile suspects were quickly located and were charged with the auto burglary. Great job, everybody.
Mr. Masters' degree is having a hard time passing these papers out, but.
I don't know, but you wouldn't be smiling if you heard him.
Fantastic job by our midnight shift. You know, while we're home sleeping at night, those of us that are fortunate to be home sleeping at night, these officers and their supervisors are out here protecting us, making sure that we're safe, and it's the beehive effect. I tell you, when something goes down on midnights, these guys and girls swarm, and good results happen when that does happen. So congratulations to that squad. Outstanding work, Sarge. Good job on that, and looking forward for more to come. So thank you.
All right, next we have a unit citation for a narcotics arrest. We need Detective Joe Alves, Officer Tim Herring, and Officer Ryan Lodwick to come on down.
They here?
They here? Nope, they must still be in bed sleeping.
All right,
moving along. We have a false imprisonment with an armed suspect. Sergeant Aaron Martin, Officer Joe Casaniti, Officer Nelson Ojeda, Officer William Thompson, and Officer Fatim Barrera. Come on up. Look, they all sat together, too. Back on February 7th at about 1:45 in the morning, 911 dispatch received a call of from a 35-year-old male who resides in a home on Southwest Altman Avenue, that he was armed with a screwdriver and was threatening his mom. Officers Nelson Ojeda, Joe Casaniti, Fatim Barrera, Will Thompson, and Sergeant Martin responded to the residence. While on their way to the residence, 911 updated the information that the male was inside his bedroom and his girlfriend was now stating that he wanted suicide by cop. Upon arrival on scene, the subject and his girlfriend were inside his bedroom with the door locked. The female was screaming hysterically, "Please, let me out," while the male suspect was holding her against her will in the room, threatening suicide by cop. For fear of the victim's safety, Sergeant Martin and Officer Casaniti kicked open the bedroom door. At that time, Sergeant Martin and Officer Ojeda were armed with their department-issued tasers, and Officer Casaniti was armed with his department-issued handgun, providing coverage. Once the door was opened, the officers observed the suspect was armed with 2 screwdrivers. Verbal commands were given for the suspect to drop the screwdrivers, and he failed to comply. Sergeant Martin then deployed his department-issued taser, striking the man in the chest with both probes, which temporarily incapacitated him, allowing him to be handcuffed. The suspect was treated by fire rescue and transported to the hospital, where he was given medical clearance and taken to jail. UCI Officer Barrera took digital photographs of the scene that included the male suspect's injury of the taser probes, the victim, and the residence. The man was charged with aggravated assault with a weapon, false imprisonment, and resisting arrest without violence. Had it not been for the quick actions of the officers involved, there was a strong likelihood that the suspect would have caused great harm to himself and most likely his girlfriend. Great job, everybody.
That's a pretty amazing case. I mean, just listening to that, what was going through my mind is that could have went several different ways, but it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of decisiveness to make decisions out on a scene like that. Again, this is midnight shift. There's not a whole lot of brass running around at night. You know, you got sergeants and officers are making tough decisions, split-second decisions, and this is a very, as we've seen across the nation, a very tough job. Our officers train for this. Our department training section does a great job preparing our officers and supervisors for these type of situations, but that was a textbook way to handle that, and that saved lives. Not only did it save the life of the girlfriend, but it saved the suspect's life who wanted to do suicide by cop. And my congratulations and hats off to you guys on that fantastic job you guys did out there. So I thank you. Appreciate it. Good job.
And that was a good segue right into the Training and Recruiting Division, getting a unit citation. Detective Tricia Gittens Wards, Officer Duncombe, Officer Courtney Druga, and Officer Mike Casey. During this quarter, you're being recognized for your hard work and dedication to the Training and Recruiting Division. While you were temporarily assigned to the Training and Recruiting section, you conducted over 20 full background checks on potential new hires within the agency, to include police officers, animal control officers, police service aides, and crossing guards. Your duties included verifying all the pertinent information provided on each person's personal history questionnaire by conducting an in-depth investigation to include criminal history checks, personal references, personal references, work history verification, and multiple neighborhood canvasses, residential visits, driving history, and credit checks. You completed these tasks in a timely manner while being very thorough to ensure the department's new hires were the best possible candidates. In addition to those duties, you put together and organized a new training manual for every employee in the department, which holds complete background information and all their training that they've conducted throughout their careers. Your attention to detail and organizational skills made these tasks complete ahead of the scheduled completion time. Congratulations on a job well done.
Some of the people couldn't be here today for that. As everyone knows, Wednesday is our training day. One of the benefits of having that 4-10 schedule is being everyone working that same Wednesday. So overtime is not a factor in making sure people get trained. But in addition to training, they also do our recruiting. And probably the most important function for any organization is really hiring the right people. And we take that very, very serious. It's a very long process. Not only is it a long process just to get into a police department because of all the confidentiality issues and vetting people out and things like that, but we really focus on hiring the right people. You know, I always say it's just like when you're building a house. You want to build a house on a good, solid foundation. If you're going to build an organization, you have to build it with on a good, solid foundation, and that's your people. Your people are your most important thing, and we take that very serious. We really call it core value-driven hiring because we want to really get to know the people. You know, we could teach anyone to write reports and process things, do things like that, but it's really what you have inside your heart that we're really trying to vet out and get into. And I think we hire some outstanding people here. And if you do get hired here, you should feel very, very special and privileged to work here. This is a great organization to be a part of, and it's going to the next level. And I'm proud of each and every one of you that are working here today. And thankful that you've chosen to work here because we couldn't do it without you. So thank you to our training and recruiting section for the job that they do. So.
That wasn't the end. We have more to do. So.
We do have more to do. I'll say something else at the end.
We have a couple of Administrative Excellence Awards. Master Sergeant Mike Beath got one for his work with the K-9 unit. Officer Colin Duncombe got one for his work in the training recruiting section. They weren't able to make it today. They're at another training session. However, Office Manager Melissa Jungjahan did make it today, so come on up, Melissa. Melissa, congratulations. Based on the nomination submitted by Administrator Bill May, you've been awarded an Administrative Excellence Award. Administrator May describes you as an employee who consistently goes out of your way to assist anyone in need. Although you're extremely busy with organizing and scheduling for the chief, you're always there to help answer any questions, expedite urgent matters, handle administrative issues for other employees, and you always have a smile. You constantly go above and beyond your normal duties each and every day simply by doing your job. Great work, Melissa, and keep up the hard work. We appreciate it.
And May 15th is Melissa's birthday as well. Happy early birthday, Melissa. She's taking next week off to celebrate her birthday, so that's great. But our administrative staff, assistants, and Melissa being the office manager, do an outstanding job keeping us organized. We could not do the job we do without the support of them. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Carmen, for the job you do, and for all of our administrative assistants in the department. Thank you.
Next, we have a commendation citation for Officer James Luongo.
Jimmy?
No. Oh, there he is. Wasn't sure. He looked a little shy there, like he didn't want to come up. On February 21st, you were dispatched to Southeast Port St. Lucie Boulevard in reference to a sighting of a suspect who was wanted in connection to an armed robbery. You approached the intersection of U.S. Highway 1 and Southeast PSL Boulevard, where you observed a male matching the suspect's general description running eastbound across a busy intersection. You exited your vehicle about 20 feet west of the suspect and called out to him. However, the suspect quickly turned, reached into his waistband, and pointed an unknown object at you in a threatening manner. You instinctively drew your department-issued firearm and pointed it at him, and then he began running again east on Southeast Mariposa. Recognizing this danger that this suspect posed to the community, you pursued him and eventually captured him. The suspect continued to actively resist your attempt to place him into handcuffs. However, once backups arrived, this was done without incident. A search of the area near where the suspect ran did not produce a firearm. However, it was later determined the suspect pointed a cell phone at you. Detectives responded to the scene and confirmed him to be the suspect in the recent armed robbery case they were investigating. Great work, great discretion.
You know, you'd be awesome at reading like bedtime stories. Anybody ever tell you that? I feel like I'm like, oh, this is so great now. I had a conversation with Officer Luongo the other day at the Safety Fest, and pretty soon he's going to speak to a kindergarten class or younger group of people about something coming up. And he was telling me how petrified he was. I'm so nervous. I got to go in front of these little kids. I'm like, you're running after armed people here. You're not afraid of that, but you're afraid of little kids. But no, great job, Jimmy. Thank you so much for what you do. Very brave.
Next, we have a commendation citation for Detective Josh Safamilla.
All right. Sharp-dressed man right here.
Josh, during this quarter, your investigative efforts have led to the arrest of 24 individuals for narcotics violations, weapons-related offenses, and gang affiliations. You were the lead detective on 6 search warrants, 5 undercover purchases of narcotics, and 1 buy-bust operation. Some examples are a recent investigation into a chronic problem location in District 3 led you to securing a search warrant for this location. With the assistance of the SWAT team, K-9 unit, and Road Patrol, the search warrant was executed and 4 individuals were arrested, one of whom was a documented associate of the Zopound Street Gang. You arrested them for narcotics offenses and probation violations. In addition to your everyday duties in SID, you're also responsible for the management of the police department's gang intelligence files, which require regular audits and updating. You attend the Restoring the Village Youth Initiative monthly meeting in Fort Pierce, which focuses on at-risk youths in our community. Most recently, you spearheaded an investigation into the vice president of the Rough Riders motorcycle gang. The investigation centered around information that indicated their vice president was involved in cocaine sales in our community. A search warrant was secured and the subject was arrested for possession of cocaine with the intent to distribute and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. You recently attained Police Officer 1, just a few moments ago, in the Career Ladder program, and you received the prestigious Support Services Detective of the Year Award for your efforts in 2016. You embody the philosophies of teamwork and balance in life. It's for all these reasons and many more that you've been awarded a commendation citation. Great job, Josh.
I'd say something, but everyone's focused on your shirt right now, so it's just, I got it, I got it. Good job, Josh.
All right, next up, we have a life-saving award for Officer Terry Russell. Terry, last December, while working a radar detail, you came in contact with an erratic driver. You immediately stopped the vehicle and discovered that the driver of the vehicle was choking on something he had eaten. You removed the driver from the car and performed the Heimlich maneuver, clearing the driver's airway. Stop, this is serious. And preventing a life-threatening incident. On January 24th, the Chief's office received a letter from the resident crediting you with saving his life. As it turns out, he's a retired deputy from Los Angeles, California. If not for your immediate actions, the outcome would not have been positive. Did you write him a ticket, though? That's what I want to know. No, okay. Congratulations, Terry, on a job well done.
Great job, brother. That's awesome. Saving somebody's life, you just priceless, but that would have been a sight to see. That would have been a sight to see. All right.
What'd you say, Terry? Like hugging a futon? Next, we have the Volunteer of the Quarter for the first quarter of 2017, Lois Rosen. Come on up. Lois, congratulations. Based on a nomination received by Volunteer Coordinator Tom Andrew, you've been selected as a volunteer for the first quarter of 2017. You've worked as a volunteer since April of 2008. You currently patrol with the Tradition Community Patrol and observe and report any suspicious activity that you may come across. In addition to Community Patrol, you volunteer in the Records Division by providing valuable assistance with the assignments of scanning and verifying files. The volunteer program and the Port St. Lucie Police Department is very lucky to have you. Congratulations.
You know, like I mentioned before, we're 293 employees, and I'm probably wrong on that. We have another 200 volunteers that are also our employees, but they do it for free. And we couldn't get it done without them, without the time and commitment that they give us. So Lois, thank you so much for all you do and for all our volunteers for everything they do for the citizens of Port St. Lucie. Absolutely.
Next, we have the Brian E. Ruther Manager Award for Jenny Salima.
Yeah, Jenny.
Jenny, congratulations. Based upon a nomination placed by Sergeant Rick Schichtel, you've been selected to receive the Brian E. Ruther Manager Award. During the start of the year, you were one of 2 supervisors for the school crossing guard unit, and the duties were split between East and West. However, with the resignation of your partner, this left only 1 supervisor. You immediately offered to step up and work full-time days to cover the times that were unsupervised. This left you supervising about 45 employees single-handedly. Because of your loyalty and professionalism, you eventually became a full-time crossing guard supervisor. During this quarter, you coordinated and planned the annual school crossing guard appreciation luncheon, at which time annual awards and service pins were presented to the school crossing guards. This event was attended by most of the command staff and was a big success enjoyed by all. On occasion, school crossing guards call out sick and had to be replaced by others, which created a scheduling nightmare. When needed, you stepped up and performed these duties at a number of schools when positions could not be filled in a timely manner. You are self-motivated and you need little to no supervision, despite being in charge of one of the most challenging units in the agency. You have a positive attitude and you always have solutions in mind when notifying command staff of problems that are encountered. You are indefinitely a pleasure to work with, and you're truly deserving of the Brian E. Ruther Management Award. Thank you.
Our school crossing guards play an important role in keeping our kids safe going to and from school. Jenny does an outstanding job with that span of control that she has, about 45 to 50 employees. Is pretty amazing. She does a great job not only administratively, but she's out in the field. I see her all the time meeting with her employees, making sure they got all the tools that they need to do their job. And Jenny, can't thank you enough for stepping up this past year. You did an outstanding job. That luncheon gets better every year, and they feel appreciated, and making sure our employees feel appreciated is very important to the organization. So thank you, Jenny, for all you do. Thank you.
Civilian of the Quarter for the first quarter of this year is Tom Andrew.
All right.
Tom, congrats. Based upon a nomination submitted by Administrator Bill May, you've been selected as a Civilian of the Quarter. You consistently complete your daily assigned duties in an efficient and professional manner. During this past quarter, you planned, scheduled, and ran the 24th Citizens Police Academy, which is an 8-week-long program. You continue to recruit new volunteers for all the various divisions and implemented the Volunteer Response Team, which goes door-to-door in hotspot areas to give out crime prevention information. In addition, you're responsible to deploy the speed radar trailer to problem areas within the city, as well as prepare city IDs for new employees, run fingerprints, and schedule all the volunteers' duties and responsibilities. You're a consistent top performer in this department, and you always perform these duties with very little fanfare. It's for these reasons and many more you're being given Civilian of the Quarter for the first quarter.
I thought Jenny had a big span of control. Mr. Andrew manages 200 of our volunteers, does a great job. For those that don't know, he's a retired chief of police. I always call him Mr. Andrew. He says, "My name's Tom." I'm like, "It's Mr. Andrew to me," so I'll continue to call you. But he does an outstanding job. We're blessed to have you. Thank you for all you do. And he also plans our memorial service, make sure that goes off well every year. So, Mr. Andrew, hats off to you. Thank you, sir.
even if he is a Devils fan. All right. For Detective of the Quarter, Detective Brian Boyce. All right, Brian. Brian, congratulations. Based upon a nomination from Detective Sergeant Jerry Henkel, you've been chosen as Detective of the First Quarter. You've been assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division for 6 months and have demonstrated a passion for property crimes. You're eager to learn from other detectives and relentless in your investigations. You're often one of the first detectives reporting for work and one of the last to leave. In addition to being assigned full-time to CID, you're a member of the Crisis Negotiation Team, and you're enrolled full-time at Indian River State College. You're expected to graduate with honors with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Some examples are, in October of 2016, you inherited a case from another detective involving the theft of a motorcycle. The victim posted the motorcycle for sale on social media site, and a male responded to the ad. The suspect requested to take the motorcycle for a test ride and never returned. The only information the victim provided was the suspect's possible cell phone number and the response to the ad. You sent out numerous subpoenas and court orders to phone companies and internet service providers. After several months of delays and excuses from the companies, you linked the phone to accounts to the suspect in the Miami area. You positively identified the male as the suspect through photo lineups and obtained a cell site activity log, placing him in St. Lucie County on the date of the theft. This was a crucial piece of the evidence, since the male, of course, denied ever being in St. Lucie County. This case took months to resolve. However, you did not give up, and it paid off in the end when you arrested the suspect for grand theft auto. Not the game, the actual crime. In January 2017, you were assigned a case regarding the recovery of a firearm. You determined the firearm was stolen from a vehicle that had been unreported to the police. You were able to connect the firearm to a known convicted felon who had previously rented the room where the gun was recovered and was the primary suspect in a smash-and-grab burglary at a store. Ooh, this is a long one. You conducted interviews with the suspect and obtained confessions that he was in possession of the gun. You obtained warrants for the suspect and he was arrested. Again, in February, you were forwarded a case regarding a stolen camera from a residence with no suspect information in the report or serial numbers on the camera. You took it upon yourself to research pawn databases using only the generic description of the camera provided by the victim and came across a similar pawn of a similar camera. You researched the transaction and discovered the person who pawned the item was the victim's daughter. You made contact with the victim who positively identified the camera, and you obtained a full confession from the daughter. Of course, the victim declined to pursue criminal charges. However, due to you going the extra mile, you were able to successfully resolve the case and bring the victim some closure. Also in February of this year, you were assigned 2 grand theft cases from a chain store where 2 suspects were responsible for stealing several hundreds of dollars in video games while distracting the store clerk. You had limited information from the reports. However, after conducting an in-depth search through pawn databases, you discovered a transaction at a game store which correlated to the same time as the thefts and matched the video games that were stolen. You discovered these 2 individuals were from Georgia and positively identified them through their social media accounts. You also recovered photographs of the suspects wearing the same clothing they committed the crime in. In addition, with the assistance of the Crime Analyst Division, you sent out a bulletin to surrounding agencies, and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office was able to successfully identify the same suspects dealing from other chain stores within their jurisdictions. You acquired warrants for the couple and put an end to their multi-jurisdictional crime spree. Great job, Brian. There's probably tons more we could read.
Thought I was going to be retired by the time you finished reading that, but
Look, they're all leaving already.
that's just a small example, folks, of the work being done in our Criminal Investigations Division. Our detectives are doing an outstanding job. I know Lieutenant Carmichael does a great job of sharing the follow-up that gets done on a lot of cases that are generated out of patrol, and really a team effort. But Brian, great job. Thank you for all you do. Great job getting your bachelor's degree this past week, graduating from IRSC, so keep up the good work.
And last, but certainly not least, is the Officer of the Quarter, and that's Officer Robbie Gibbons. He's not able to attend today, so we'll move on from there.
Okay. Yeah, Robbie did a great job. He came in 4th place recently in a statewide canine competition. I don't know if anybody got to see the photos, but it was pretty impressive. I mean, he had the dog carrying him on his shoulder, jumping over walls and doing all kinds of fun stuff. But he's doing a great job, as is everyone else in the canine unit, so it was a shame they couldn't be here today. But just in closing, I just again want to thank everybody for all the hard work that you're all doing. I don't think it's any surprise that we're the safest city in Florida 12 out of the past 14 years. Safest large city, over 100,000. We just overtook Fort Lauderdale as the 8th largest city in Florida, and our numbers should be coming out soon. I expect us to retain the title for another year, and we're off to a great start already in the second quarter of 2017. Some great seizures like the one the other day where we seized about $250,000 cash for some drug dealers, and again, just another small example of the great work being done department-wide. So let's all stay focused on those continuous improvements, staying positive, moving forward, moving this agency forward to where it needs to go. And again, this is an employee-driven organization. Not one person gets it done, we all get it done together, and I'm proud of each and every one of you for the work that you're doing. I know the Chief's proud. He couldn't be here today. He's out of town, but he just sends his thanks and his thoughts to you. And you see, everyone's excited about this. This is good stuff. So, but join us for some refreshments across the street. We got coffee, and I'm sure we got some cake and different things, right, Lisa? Our new purchasing supervisor, we won't embarrass her. She promised that I couldn't do that today. But thank you all again for being here today and taking time out of your day to celebrate these wins. Great job, everybody. Thank you.